Eclipse season starts off on Thursday, April 20th, with the solar eclipse in the last powerful, we call it anaretic degree of Aries. This eclipse will usher us into a brand new cycle of Aries Libra eclipses that will take us through into 2025. This is a huge deal, so let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western tropical astrologer specializing in natal relationship and predictive astrology. If you'd like to work with me, check out the links down below. I am currently running an eclipse season special, offering 20% off all of my readings to provide some guidance and help you deal with these more challenging times. Use the code Eclipse Season 2023 and check the link down below to book your reading. Before I dive in, wanted to let you know that I am going to be hosting an astrological 6-day astrological retreat to Costa Rica in late September. We're joining a group of people who are like-minded, love travel, love astrology, and will explore the sites. We will see some wildlife, we'll experience the magic of Costa Rica through the food, through the adventures we're gonna go on. Join in and take advantage of the early bird rate that's not gonna last. You can save $100 and you only need 25% to save your spot. The rest can be broken down into payments. So let's talk about the eclipse. This eclipse happens at 12:17 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, April 20th, or April 19th, depending on your time zone. If you are in California, for example, it will be April 19th. And it occurs at 29 degrees Aries. The 29th degree is called anaretic degree, the final degree, and it has the powerful potential. So not only it's an eclipse, which is always a big bang, the fact that it's the last degree brings even more energy of change, transformation, new beginnings. We are, with this eclipse, entering the eclipse season. We will get a lunar eclipse on May 5th as well. That one will be in Scorpio. It's part of the previous eclipse series of Taurus and Scorpio that is completing right now. We'll talk about that when we get there. Right now, it's all about the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse is a new moon, so it's the sun and moon coming together in the same sign, in this case in Aries, but we get the moon eclipsing the sun, right? So it's a new moon, but it's very dramatic. Back in the day, the moon would close the sun, right? Like the moon would come over the sun, and in the middle of the day, you would see the shadow of the moon on the sun. So people would freak out. It was a big deal. It was like a big change in the experience. Visually, you could sense it, you can feel it all around you, and so it tends to bring these kind of important periods, right? Like a lot of changes in history occurred around eclipses, right? Like killing kings, saving kings, protecting kings. It tends to be drastic, important, and this one is even more drastic, even more significant because it's happening in the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is the start of the zodiac. It's the baby of the zodiac. It's the first sign of spring. So we are experiencing a big kind of change, crossing, energy ripening, opening, and transforming. Like I said, it is the start of the Aries and Libra cycle. The cycle is going to take us all through 2024. And then we actually have the final eclipse in Aries in March 2025. So almost 2 years of Aries Libra energy. It's not gonna be all Aries and Libra because next year we're gonna start having eclipses in the Virgo Pisces. But a lot of times when the nodes are very close to the edge of the sign, like in this case right now, the nodes are still in Taurus and Scorpio, but they're getting really close to Aries and Libra, and the eclipse we get is in Aries and Libra, even though the North and South node are still in Taurus and Scorpio. So similarly, next year we will have a bit of that crossover, but it's an important change, right? Like all of 2022, we were having eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio. And South Node, which represents release, change, letting things go, was in Scorpio. It was in the Mars-ruled sign, asking us to focus on the North Node, which was a Venus-ruled sign. So we were releasing kind of things that were separating us from others. We were processing more negative experiences. We were focusing on Venusian topics, building stability, building change, creating kind of security in our life, right? Like this eclipse cycle is very much about Mars energy. So here we are still dealing with Venus and Mars because we will be having eclipses in Libra as well. But we are rethinking outdated relationship dynamics with the upcoming eclipses in Libra. And we are looking at our personality, our desires, our strength, and how can our strength, of course, complement the collective. But it's very much about the self, right? And finding a better balance, right? Like what kind of unhealthy dynamics you have in your relationships. Where are you perhaps sacrificing yourself? Where are you comparing too much? A lot of these questions will be significant with this Aries and Libra cycle. You know, your goals versus the goals of the relationship, your future versus the future of the relationship, your kind of inner strength versus the dependencies and connections you have with others. Aries is quick, Aries is impulsive, Aries actually benefits from the energy of Libra. So while this eclipse can be transformational and dramatic, I would recommend not to jump to conclusions really quickly or not to kind of try to understand it all immediately. It's going to take some time. Like I said, the final eclipse will happen in March 2025. So this is just the beginning of a really long cycle. What is interesting is we've had the same exact eclipse series with North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra between November 2004 and June 2006. So take a look at what was happening in your life. What kind of significant personal developments were going on? As a Libra rising, this is a very important eclipse series for me. And back in the day when it was happening, this was the beginnings of my kind of dating life, right? And for me, North Node is my house of relationships. So there was definitely like big crushes, dates, and kind of important developments. So I would take a look, and especially as I go through the signs, you can listen for what this brings to you and reflect back on what, God, at this point, 2004, 17 years ago, right? 17 years ago, and see how this, is my math correct? 19 years ago, 2004. It's crazy because, yeah, it would have been 16, 19 years ago, 19 to 2006. So why is my math off today? 19 to 17 years ago, right? How was your life like back then? This feels, because we're transitioning from Taurus Scorpio into Aries Libra, it feels like we're wiping the slate clean. I'm titling this video, Wiping the Slate Clean. Just a sec. And as we wipe the slate clean, there's a lot to wash off, and there might be some resistance and some struggles, especially because of the aspects this eclipse is making. So it's a shift, but it's not an easy shift. So prepare for some potential dramatic exchanges and more challenging energy to show up around this time. So like I said, the eclipse is happening in the anaretic degree, final degree of Aries, which tends to be more dramatic, more powerful, more significant of change. It will likely affect you especially strongly if you have planets around 26 to 29 degrees of cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. It is nearing a square to Pluto. So the eclipse is happening in Aries, but shortly after, literally hours after, both the moon and the sun are already in Taurus. And Pluto is in Aquarius right now, so the eclipse will come in contact with Pluto. And Pluto, being the god of the underworld, the holder of secrets, the holder of knowledge, is likely to slap us in the face, right? It's gonna potentially shine light, reveal something, and if there has been any tensions brooding underneath the surface, anything kind of simmering and not being addressed, Pluto will make you look at it. Pluto is in the progressive sign of Aquarius, so it's likely to offer some insights, ideas about the way of dealing with challenges you're facing, but it's not necessarily going to be easy, like I said. So the square to Pluto, the 20th, even 21st, there could be more kind of power struggles, drama, explosive exchanges, tension coming to a boiling point. Like an example would be if you are in a relationship and your perhaps finances have been uncomfortable, where one of you is taking on more and feels unhappy with it and sort of been letting things slide. But at the point of the eclipse, this might be the time when the tension just comes out in the open, forcing you to deal with it. What is fascinating is that the day after the eclipse on the 21st, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. So the drama that occurs is immediately followed by a standstill, right? You get Mercury conjoins Uranus when it stations retrograde, not exact, but very close. It's very close to Uranus. So this drama, this frustration that you encounter causes you to stop in your tracks, to rethink a lot of things, to come up with a revision. And that's what Mercury retrograde is about. The fact that we have a lot of strong Taurus energy right after the eclipse, to me, is a sign that you are working on bringing more stability into your life and bringing more structure, but it's not going to be immediately apparent on how to get there. The ruler of the eclipse is Mars in Cancer, so that complicates things even more, because Mars in Cancer deals with feelings, deals with conflict in an emotional way. It's kind of the fighting and crying energy. So you may feel your emotions may be even more complicated and may be tainted or colored by your wounds and traumas and your past and your familial history and things you're working through. We all come from our childhoods, and we a lot of times repeat things that we didn't completely integrate or process as young kids in our adult life. So pay attention to whatever comes up, pay attention to the drama and the fights you're having, and maybe examine the roots that they have, examine where they're coming from. Some of the important things to note, a couple more important things: do not do any manifesting. I know sometimes people are like, eclipses, powerful door of opportunity. It's not the time to manifest. Eclipses are unpredictable. There are times of karmic rebalancing, and they have intentions for you. It's not about you having intentions for them. You can focus on self-care. You can try grounding yourself, like, go for a walk, meditate, journal, say some affirmations. Like I was meditating today and doing an affirmation meditation, and the affirmation in it I really resonated with was, I meet today with confidence and courage. So I meet today with confidence and courage. Regardless of what comes up, you will be strong, and you can handle it all, because we've dealt with eclipses. We deal with them every 6 months, right? They are a big deal, but we're not gonna get drowned. Like, yes, we might get our feathers ruffled and maybe frustrations brought up to the surface, but as a result, they always bring us closer to our authentic self and take us where we're trying to go. So let things happen, do not force anything, and take good care of yourself. Now is the time to take a look at the 12 rising signs and see what kind of changes this could be about for you. And I do rising sign horoscopes primarily. You can also listen for your sun or moon, but rising sign is the starting point of the chart. It determines where the rest of the transits fall and tends to be the most accurate. So if you are an Aries rising, there is a solar eclipse happening in your first house. First house is all about your physical body, your health, your well-being, your job, your status in the world. First house always answers the question of, who am I? So what happens when we get an eclipse here is that perception you have of yourself is shifting. It's Aries, it's the solar eclipse in Aries, which is the sign of leadership. It's the sign of pioneers, innovation, trying new things. So maybe you are taking action, maybe you are reinventing yourself, you're taking on a job opportunity that lets you become more visible, that lets you become more known, that lets you become more prominent, right? You may be changing your look as your inner self is going through a transformation. Your health might transform, your kind of physicality, your style may change as well. You know, this could be like taking action and getting some kind of procedure done that you've been thinking about for a long time. There could be as well professional change, especially because right after the eclipse, the sun enters Taurus and we have Mercury going retrograde in Taurus. So maybe it's that sense of confidence or a skill or a gift you have that you're now ready to take and turn it into the source of income. But definitely significant personal change. And take a look back at the last time we had these eclipses, which is late 2004, middle of 2006. My Aries rising friend actually made a huge shift in her life. She moved to the States at this time. So going from being in Belarus to traveling and becoming an American citizen eventually. I'm so curious to see how it plays out for her. And if you remember that period, first, previous time we had these eclipses, let me know. If you are a Taurus rising, the solar eclipse is activating your 12th house. And it's ruled by Mars in the 3rd. So solar eclipses in the 12th house always shine light on hidden things and potentially bring breakthroughs, new beginnings, right? But so hidden things can be a few examples. It could be your self-defeating tendencies. It could be your fears, could be your bad habits, like a sugar addiction you have. I like sugar, but if you swim in it or eat it in tablespoons, that maybe is not good for you. So it can bring a breakthrough, a chance to heal, a chance to address something in therapy. It can also be very much about addressing the shadow side or the hidden side, or even a talent you have, something that has always been interesting to you, but you haven't given it a full attention, right? Maybe it's your love for yoga, maybe it's your love for astrology, and now you're letting that energy become more visible, right? Maybe you are becoming a healer. 12th house is also very much taking care of other people who are in the 12th house place, people who are struggling, who are victims, who are in mental asylums, and you're taking on a role of helping them. The sun shortly after enters Taurus, Mercury goes retrograde in Taurus. So it's very much how can you either release a fear and step into the light, or how can you integrate something you truly want to do in your everyday life and make it a part of who you are. If you are a Gemini rising, the eclipse activates your 11th house, and it's the solar eclipse. It's Aries, it's new beginnings, it's leadership, it's groups, but you being in charge. It's like you are willing and ready to take action that puts you in front of other people, potentially, that makes you a leader. You're even maybe making an announcement, because 11th house is social media, it's your friends, it's your network, your fans. So taking something that maybe is a professional, with Saturn being in your 10th house of career, maybe it's a professional aspiration, you're making it public. Opportunities and new beginnings can be coming from friends, where a friend is giving you an answer, an idea, and is serving as that motivational force. But it also feels like you are rethinking your dreams. You're maybe looking at what brings you joy and making changes to it, right? Maybe your values are changing with Mars being currently in the 2nd house. You are like, I feel like financial concerns could be also important here, but it's also about like what matters to you, and you're either venturing out to find people who support and are aligned with you, or you're creating your own opportunities, starting to volunteer, joining new people, venturing on social media. And also take a look at the last time we had this exact energy, which would have been in 2005, 2006, if you've been conscious and grown up around that time, and let me know. If you are a Cancer rising, solar eclipse is happening in your 10th house. So this is very significant. 10th house is your occupation, what you're known for in the world. And it might be being known as a parent. It might be being known as the best ukulele player, or a very hardworking individual. So here you are taking action. You are becoming who you want to be, right? And it's all about like, what do you do? What's your kind of livelihood? So for many of you, it will be new professional opportunities. It may be a new job. It may be a chance to get recognition, become more visible, start new projects, or start a business. Maybe you feel like you're ready for new beginnings. The sun shortly after enters your 11th house and potentially bringing an inception of new dreams, or maybe it's old dreams that you've forgotten about, or dreams that you put on back burner that are now getting another round, coming back for review, getting a chance to light the fire within you. So very exciting, right? It doesn't have to be about career. It could also be about your reputation in the world, something you want to be known for. Maybe you want to be known as the cat trainer, or you want to be known as the person with the best honey. You want to start making honey. So something is changing in how you show up in the world and how you are known, what you're known for. If you are a Leo rising, there's a solar eclipse happening in your 9th house. We had a new moon here on March 21st. Take a look back. 9th house represents your beliefs. So on a spiritual level, as the sun is about to go into your house of career after this eclipse, you are looking at your guiding principles, right? And perhaps experiencing a shift there. Maybe you are starting to realize that you are the main hero of your story, and you maybe are embracing a more kind of leadership role, or more in charge of your life role. So your beliefs and your ideals get kind of shiny with the light of the sun, right? It's also a place of travel. So I can also see you kind of experiencing opportunities and maybe taking on a role that involves more travel, right? Like becoming a leader is always an energy of Aries. So taking a leadership role in education, maybe you're teaching, maybe you are presiding over some kind of student group, traveling, right? Becoming a travel agent, doing more publishing, doing more influencing, maybe even taking on a kind of a more significant role in your spiritual community, right? If you are a member of the church, it could be in the church. If you are an astrologer, it could be in an astrological community. So quite exciting. Take a look back at the late 2004, mid 2006, when we had the same exact eclipses, and reflect on what kind of changes were happening in your life at that time. If you are a Virgo rising, the solar eclipse is happening in your 8th house. And 8th house represents topics of give and take with other people. So we had a new moon here on March 21st. Did anything happen in your life? Were you offered any new opportunities? Were there any changes in your finances? Take a look back, because this is a really big bang, significant new beginning that either entangles you and ties you to other people closely, or it lets you separate, it lets you step outside, right? So there might be new opportunities to collaborate with other people, even romantically, right? Like there might be a change in the life of your partner that affects you, a change in their finances that affects you. Like opportunity to join yourself or align yourself with something. Be careful. 8th house is always this, there's always this energy to like read the fine print and don't agree to things that might potentially drag you down. So yeah, like read the fine print. And in terms of separating from something, this could be the time when you feel like you've maybe been a part of some kind of agreement, whether it's an actual contract that you're not happy with, or if it's a romantic relationship or a familial dynamic that feels like it no longer reflects who you are. So this could also be your opportunity to renegotiate, to release, to change things. Regardless what it is, your financial and relational dynamics are changing. This could also be very much a chance to pay off a debt, to take out a loan, to receive an inheritance, to get a big tax refund, and maybe use this money in a new and exciting way. And 8th house also represents healing and hidden things and kind of sudden events that let you maybe see your life in a different light, or let you transform and integrate something from the past. If you are a Libra rising, the eclipse is activating your 7th house. And 7th house is the place of partnerships. It's the place of relationships as well as the house of your partner. So if you are single, someone new can be coming into your life. Could be now, could be within a year from now, right? It's like it's the start of something. So your mindset might be shifting to being more open to dating, to being more open to partnering up. You can absolutely meet someone. Maybe it's the time for you to start dating. Maybe you meet someone who kind of changes your life significantly. If you are already in a relationship, there might be commitment and change and move to connect better. Of course, there's always a possibility that you realize that you want freedom and you choose to walk away. But overall, this is quite exciting, I think, for you, for your business agreements. This house and eclipse is ruled by Mars, currently in Cancer. So professional new beginnings I can also quite see here, as well as your partner can be going through a big transformation. The sun, right after the eclipse, enters the 8th house, which is the place of partners' resources, shared resources. And I can also see this as a business partner or a romantic partner going through a shift. Be careful also to who you agree to sign your, life to, or the contracts you're signing, kind of review them, because Mercury is about to retrograde in your 8th house, a sign of needing to kind of renegotiate, rethink, and review financial and other agreements with people in your life. If you are a Scorpio rising, the solar eclipse happens in your 6th house. So here we're looking at the place of everyday work and kind of hard work and hard labor that involves serving to other people, giving other people, helping those that are unfortunate, sick, poor, etc. So with the solar eclipse here, you are venturing on a brand new path. You're starting an important new chapter in your life that will require a lot of work. So maybe you're building a business, right? Maybe you're starting a new job that is labor intensive, or you're going back to school. You may see very strong interest in health here, in diet and exercise. So committing to something like that, like going back to school to become a dietitian, a therapist, anything like that is quite likely. Making a big commitment to a partnership, I can see here as well, because shortly after the sun enters your 7th house. So maybe you are venturing on a new path in your relationship. Maybe you're getting pregnant, right? And your health is changing because your relationship is transforming and you're birthing something into the world. Regardless, feels like it's a very big labor that you're undertaking, but because it's a labor of love, it's not as heavy as it could have been otherwise. If you are a Sagittarius rising, the solar eclipse is activating your 5th house. So here we're looking at joy and pleasure and what makes you happy, what makes you excited, and how can you be more proactive when it comes to having more fun. Right, so you may feel ready to date again. You may be exploring different things and dating different people and kind of being more open-minded with this eclipse. You may be starting new creative passions, perhaps taking something that once made you happy and bringing it back into the world and finding joy in that, right? Like very literal. Another manifestation here is birthing. And birthing could be getting pregnant with an actual child, giving birth to a child, freezing your eggs, right? Taking action that kind of allows you to have kids. Or it could be anything else that makes you happy. And this will be very unique for everyone, right? For someone, it will be travel. For somebody else, it will be swimming every day or hiking or rock climbing. Let me know what it is for you. Let me know what you think this will be about, and enjoy the energy of this eclipse. Take a look back as well at late 2004, mid 2006, when we had the exact same dynamics in the air, and see how has your life improved and what kind of joyful, creative, exciting new beginnings happened in your life. If you are a Capricorn rising, the solar eclipse is activating your 4th house. And 4th house is all about your place of living. So, and of course, family, karma, past kind of your childhood and your sense of comfort, right? So solar eclipse here is a big deal. It's a big start, and it can bring new opportunities to move, to sell, to buy, to renovate, make changes to your living situation. A Capricorn rising friend and client is potentially considering living in 2 places right now, where she will spend half of her time in one location, half of her time in the other. She's also looking into buying a property and dealing with a lot of kind of matters connected to the home. So you can experience important new beginnings here. The sun shortly after enters in your 5th house, so you're very much driven by having a living situation that is enjoyable, I think. A living situation that lets you either express yourself creatively, or maybe a living situation that connects you to your partner and puts you in a position to date more or live with someone you love, right? Changes to the lives of family members are quite likely here, where maybe they are venturing somewhere else and starting a new kind of life in a different place. Maybe you're becoming a parent, you're embracing a new family member. And on a deeper level, this also has to do with healing and with becoming kind of in charge of your inner comfort and security. So taking action that brings comfort, building an enjoyable living, and healing the past are also very important themes here. And take a look and let me know how your life has changed when we last had this energy in late 2004, mid 2006, when we had Aries and Libra eclipses as well. What happened in your home, family, and living situation? I'd love to know. If you are an Aqua rising, the solar eclipse is activating your 3rd house, and it's ruled by Mars currently in your 6th house. So 3rd house deals with communication. It deals with your everyday life, with short trips, with interactions, with your skills, hobbies, basically how you spend your everyday life. And as Aries energy comes in here and creates this big bang, you are transforming your everyday life, right? You are rethinking how you do work potentially. Maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're studying and offering your services to other people. You may be embracing a different role within the community and starting to show up as a leader, someone who has influence over other people. That could mean, opening a coffee shop in the neighborhood, becoming a yoga teacher, starting to offer astrology readings to people who go to a local gym, right? Definitely something you communicate, and your role in everyday life is changing. You can also be starting a blog, starting a writing project. I think this eclipse feels like you can no longer hide what makes you happy and what makes you joyful, and you really feel like you want to scream about it. You want to talk about it from the rooftops. Scream from the rooftops, talk about it. So take action, be ready to perhaps change your everyday life. What's interesting is the retrograde, Mercury will be retrograding in your 4th, and also the sun enters your 4th. So the change that you're undergoing could be connected to your family, or could be connected to your living situation, where maybe you're moving and your role in the collective is changing, or you're looking to start to work from home, or you're moving away from working from home. Or maybe even starting a business or starting some kind of new venture with a family member is likely here. And let me know if you remember how your life changed and what was happening in your life the last time we had these eclipses, which would have been November 2004 into June 2006. Now, if you are a Pisces rising, there is a solar eclipse in your 2nd house. 2nd house is the place of money and values. And shortly after this eclipse, the sun enters your 3rd house, which represents your skills, hobbies, and everyday life. So a new beginning in your finances, right? A new job, a new opportunity that changes your everyday life. Maybe you get a job in Paris and now you have to move and you have to learn a different language and you have to deal with moving your furniture or putting it in storage, etc. So there can definitely be an exciting financial opportunity, new job, starting a business, starting some kind of studies, potentially investing into your future. 2nd house deals with values as well. So you can also see an important shift in terms of what drives you and what motivates you and what inspires you, right? So I think it's interesting with the sun going into the 3rd house and highlighting topics like education, writing, short trips, skills, local environment, like all of those things will be activated more, where perhaps the changes that you're making, financial changes, will require more traveling. Maybe you're teaching or you're learning something, like a new language, right? Or you're kind of getting more involved with technology, taking on a different role in the community. So I feel like this could be a very important transformation in your life. And I'd love to know what you see it being. How did the new moon in Aries on March 21st affect you? And take a look back at November 2004 into June 2006, when we had the nodes in Aries and Libra, the exact same position, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra last time. And let me know how your life has changed at that time. Yeah. And I will bid you adieu. It's a bit of a shaky eclipse, like I said, because of the Pluto influence and because of the other transits, the upcoming Mercury retrograde. Doesn't have to be dramatic, doesn't have to be all dark and challenging, but I know we can handle it. So have a good eclipse. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.